say go. Hello everyone. This week for our family meal series, we're going to be making some loaded mashed potato bowls. The ingredients we'll be using in this week's recipe are 6 cups of prepared mashed potatoes, 2 cups of frozen corn, a can of black beans, half a teaspoon of chili powder. We'll also be using some shredded cheese, barbecue sauce, and green onion. Also 1 jalapeno, which is totally optional. In addition to the ingredients, we're also going to need some items from around the kitchen. These include a cutting board, a knife, a potato peeler, cheese grater, a large pot, a half teaspoon measurer, a can opener, and a potato masher. Now, before we actually get into the preparation and the cooking of this dish, we need to first start by washing and peeling our potatoes. So go ahead, get that part of it done, and then meet me back here and we'll get started with the recipe. Alright, everything is peeled and washed, so we can go ahead and start cutting up our potatoes. I'm cutting them into fairly decent sized chunks just because I've got enough time to spare just while we get everything else ready. But if you're trying to do this in a hurry, you might want to cut your potatoes, a little bit smaller, and that way they'll cook faster. Looks like I've got a little too much water. I've dumped some water out and now I've turned the potatoes on to start boiling. Here's my corn. It's 2 cups of corn. You can either use this or thaw this at room temperature, or you can go ahead and boil it. It all depends on what your time frame is looking like. I'm going to get started with cutting my green onions. I'm just going to take those top pieces off and I'm just going to go ahead and slice these up. I don't know about you, but I'm a really big fan of just the scent of green onions. I think that they smell delicious and it makes me look forward to eating them in a meal. Let's move on to our black beans. Hopefully you've drained and rinsed them. I'm just going to put them in this glass container so that I can tuck them away into the fridge until we're ready to make our bowls. So we've got our beans and now we're going to add our chili powder. So we're going to use a half teaspoon of chili powder. Just going to lightly sprinkle this over top of the beans. If this is a flavor that you really like, you can go ahead and add more. And then we're just going to mix it up to make sure that the beans are evenly coated. You could really add in any seasonings that you and your family enjoy here. It's entirely up to you. Those are done and ready. So what do we have left? Yep, our cheese. I'm going to just cut a chunk off if this knife lets me. There we go. And we can go ahead and grate our cheese. I don't know if any of you have pets, but if you do, does your dog come running the minute they hear a cheese package open? Because ours does, and it makes me absolutely crazy. How do they possibly know that it's cheese? Go ahead and grate all of that cheese down. Perfect. Alright, potatoes are cooked, so I'm going to start mashing. Go ahead and do this however you are used to doing it. A lot of people do it differently. Here, I'm just going to go ahead and mash. I'm left-handed by nature, which means that in these videos, you tend to see a lot of my hands. I'm trying to switch it out a little bit. We'll see how that works. So So one of the things that my mom always told me was to save a little bit of that potato water and to add that in when I'm mashing potatoes. So that's what I'm doing. I'm not sure if anybody else has ever been told that. I'd be curious though. Now we're going to add in some margarine and continue to mash. And a little bit of milk. I swear, mashing potatoes is a fine art. I don't know how people get them so that there are zero lumps and they're so nice and fluffy, but if you've got any tips and tricks that you're willing to share, please feel free to do so, either by emailing Jackie or myself or sharing something in the comments below. I've got them as good as I'm going to get them, so now it's time to start preparing our bowls. Here I'm going to go ahead and just scoop some mashed potatoes into one of our bowls. Next I'm going to add some corn. Now some of those seasoned black beans. Of course, we can't forget our cheese. Now the barbecue sauce. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little nervous using this size of a bottle. I'm hoping that it doesn't just blob out. Thankfully it isn't so far. Perfect. And then we're just going to top this bowl off with the green onion, and if you chose to use your jalapeno, this is when you would sprinkle it on. And there we have our mashed potato bowl. Now you could stick it in the microwave if you really wanted to, or into the oven just to melt some of that cheese. The other really great thing about this dish is that you can actually prepare it ahead of time. So if you need to make sure you've got something quick and easy, you just prepare the bowls, tuck them into the fridge, and then when you're ready to eat them, either pop them into the microwave or into the oven just to warm them through, and they will be just as delicious as they were the first time. We hope you enjoyed this week's recipe, and until next time, Ona!